Guys, we're gonna bring up your next comic. He's also from Calgary. Chris Whiff. This guy, I should say his name after him. This guy, he's won Battle of the Comics. If you're from Calgary, he's on the semifinals at the Laugh Shop, so you should go check him out. I want you guys to give a lovely welcome to Chris Whiff.
Lethbridge, how are we doing tonight, you guys? Oh my God. When a mole was bringing me up, he said Calgary, and I heard some lady go, ooh! Which is pretty funny. Yeah, you guys, my name is Chris Whiff. That's a Hutterite last name. That's because my dad is an ex-Hutterite. Yeah, or as I prefer to call them, electric Amish. Growing up was tough though, you know, because I grew up just outside of Airdrie, so I grew up in just outside of town, and I went to the school where all the out-of-town kids went, so all of them knew about Hutterites, and so I got bullied to shit for being half Hutterite, you guys. It's true, I'd have kids who would point at me and they'd laugh and be like, oh Chris, I bet your parents are siblings. And I'd always be like, no, my parents aren't siblings, idiot. They're cousins. You know? But then I visited a colony, you guys, and I was a little bit older, I visited a colony, and this is true. The Hutterites got an app developed for them. They paid $500,000 to get an app developed for them, and the app is called Members. And what Members is it's an app where you can look up how related to different people in different colonies you are. Yeah, it's just Tinder for Hutterites. If I was in charge, I would have called it Members. I would have just named it Ancestry.com. To give Jebediah and the crew a little bit of an easy time scrolling through the App Store, you know? But like I said, I'm half Hutterite on my dad's side. Me and my mom were actually born in Peru. Yeah, that makes me an immigrant, you guys. Do we have any immigrants in here tonight? That was a very white woo-wah. But where are you from? I can't see you, that's why.
I'm from Ecuador.
Okay, you're from Ecuador. That's a real immigrant. Let's go! Who's up for Ecuador, you guys? She's just been here long enough that she had an almost yee-haw to her woo-woo. I'm confused. That's cool. So, is it Portuguese in Ecuador or is it Spanish?
Spanish!
I didn't ask you. Okay, so do you speak Spanish? Nice, that's good. I think that's a good immigrant. You know, if you can, not like that, you guys, but not like that, you guys. I'm not like Denner, you know? But I feel like people will call me a bad immigrant because I don't speak Spanish. And right now, I kind of speak Spanish the same way that a closeted redneck sucks dick. Because I don't, you guys. I don't. But I will try if my family asks me to. Yeah, because I love my family, you guys. That's the Hutterite coming through, you know? I checked on Members, you guys. I logged on. I am the only Peruvian Hutterite, which is pretty cool. Basically, it means that a lot of my Hutterite tendencies and my Peruvian tendencies kind of cross over. So the Peruvian side of me wants to just steal your phone, but the Hutterite side of me won't know how to use it. You know? And the Hutterites, they're pretty big on drinking, going out, having a good time. Especially when they leave the colony, they really like casinos and gambling and stuff. So I really like to gamble, but I like to do it with my Hispanic cousins. So we don't do regular gambling, we just do rock, paper, scissors for money. And I just pick rock every time because they never have any papers. So yeah. It was weird being raised like that though, because my mom was a little bit younger, and so my dad obviously spoke English. My mom didn't really speak English until I was a little bit older. And so when I was 9 years old, my dad was still kind of in charge and of raising the kids to be the adults that he wanted to see. And so one day he sat me down and he's like, Chris, I want to teach you how to work hard like me. And so he said, Chris, there's a pile of bricks in the front yard and a wheelbarrow. I want you to move those bricks from the front yard to the backyard. And then he handed me two $5 bills and he said, this is your payment for the job. And so I went out and I started moving bricks, and after a while I came back in, and my dad was like, Chris, did you finish moving the bricks like I asked? And I was like, well, Dad, I moved half the bricks. And then I handed him one of the $5s back, and I was like, you can move the other half yourself. But my dad didn't like that, you know? That wasn't the point of his lesson. And so he threw that 5 back in my face and he said, Chris, go out there and finish this job the way that I would. And so I hired a 10-year-old immigrant to do it. And then I moved overseas and married someone 13 years younger. You gotta learn from the best, you guys. You guys were fine with incest a second ago. What's a 13-year gap? That's nothing. That's nothing, you guys. It was weird. My dad was like a weird Hutterite for sure. I think that's why he left the colony. Like my dad, he was one of the only Hutterites I ever met who I have never seen drunk. Not once in my life. I barely even seen my dad drink. Even on special occasions, his birthday, he never picks up a drink. But there is one place my dad likes to drink, and that's when he's driving. But he doesn't get drunk, you guys. He's not like an irresponsible guy who like gets hammered and goes for a drive. My dad, when I was growing up, he would get himself a red Solo cup. He'd put in 2 ounces of vodka, 3 fingers of orange juice, and a couple of ice cubes, and then he'd just hit the road. He'd only bring 1 drink with him, and I've been trying for the last 16 years to figure out why the fuck he did it. You know? Because like, he would care about safety. Like, he was a safe guy. Like, he wouldn't let me sit in the front seat. Because he was like worried that I would like spill his drink or whatever. So he'd make me sit in the back, and like he would just make up excuses to drink and drive. Like there was one time he was like, Chris, you want to go to Dairy Queen? Like you want to drive into town, go to Dairy Queen? And I was like, Dad, we have ice cream in the freezer. And he's like, let's go for a ride, come on! And then we'd mix the drink and we'd go, and we went to Dairy Queen once, and he got pulled over coming into the city. And so he just turned right around to me and he handed me his drink and he's like, Chris, no matter what this officer says, no matter what this officer does, you have to tell him that's juice if he asks. And so the cop comes up to my dad's window and he gets his license and everything, he runs in, he comes back, he hands my dad back his license, and then he sees me in the back seat. And he goes, oh son, what you drinking there? And I panicked, you guys, because I'm scared of my dad, but I'm way more scared of police, right? And so I just went, a screwdriver. And then I drank the whole thing. And the officer like looked at me, and then he looked at my dad, and he was like, good sense of humor on this one. And then he let us go. It was fucked up, you guys. Most people had mothers against drunk driving. I had fathers for booze cruising. Oh my god, you guys. You guys into music? I feel like we're a pretty younger crowd tonight. We're young at heart. Young at heart for you especially, but... Okay, but we like, have you guys ever heard the song Teenage Dirtbag before? You guys have heard that song? Yes, okay, so if you don't know the song Teenage Dirtbag, all you gotta know is that that song, start to finish, is about a kid who does not get the girl, right? Beginning of the song, he's like, oh, I'm the teenage dirtbag, this girl doesn't like me. All the way to the end of the song, and then in the last verse, he's at prom, he's all alone, and the girl starts singing to him. Not only does she sing back to him, she wants him. She has tickets to see his favorite band in concert, okay? And that part of the song goes like this. It goes, I've got 2 tickets to Iron Maiden, baby. Come with me Friday, don't say maybe, 'cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby like you. Do-do-do-do-do. Okay? You don't have to yay for that. I know it's fantastic, but that's an aside, you guys. The reason I sing that is because that song, that part of the song ruined it for me. You know? Because like, you guys are looking up at me, you see my build, I already got the girls in high school. You know? So, that's not the joke. But like, if that song had been written more for someone like me, it would have been a lot different, you know? It would have gone something like this. It would have gone like, Martha from work's not better than you, Chris. She didn't deserve the promotion like you did. She's just a big old bitch. You know? Yeah, maybe that's just me, you guys. That's okay. Let me ask you guys, I want to get to know you guys a little bit more. Let me ask you guys, has anyone here ever gotten passed over for a promotion at work? Yeah. Yeah, a couple people, I heard a couple of yes. And have you ever gotten passed over for a promotion at work because somebody like undeserving got it over you? Yeah, a couple woos. Okay, let me ask you guys this thing. Have you guys ever gotten like called into your boss's office right? And so you're like, what's this about? So you go to the boss's office and you open your door and you're like, hey boss, how's it going? And then your boss, silly guy he is, he just goes, sit down, Chris! And you go, boss, what's going on? What did I do wrong? And then he sits you down and he's like, Chris, you have to stop harassing Martha over this whole fucking promotion thing. Like, she got it 2.5 months ago, you have to get over it. And then he kicks you out of his office. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Okay, perfect. Let me ask you this then. You guys ever get fired for workplace harassment? And so they give you one of those boxes that you see in the movies that are meant for files but are always there when someone gets fired for whatever reason. And then you pack all your shit up and you go home and you cry yourself to sleep at 8 p.m. because you've never been fired from a job before. And then when you wake up the next morning, you apply for EI, but it turns out that you can't get EI because you were fired with cause. Whatever the hell that means. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Yes. Okay, perfect. Let me ask you this then. You guys ever gonna knock on your door around 4 p.m. so you open the door and it's the police? And the police go, hi Chris, this is a restraining order. And you go, police, why would I need a restraining order? And it turns out that Martha told the police that you were hiding in the bushes. But you weren't hiding at all. You wanted Martha to see you so you could give her a piece of your fucking mind. And they go, Chris, this is a restraining order, don't violate it. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Okay, perfect. Let me ask you this then. You guys ever get arrested for stalking? And so they whisk you off to jail, and you get to jail, and you meet your cellmate, and you shake hands with him, because that's what you do when you meet somebody. You shake their hand. So you shake hands with him, and you go, hi, I'm Chris, I'm in for stalking. And then he goes, hi, I'm your cellmate, I'm in for stabbing. Wait, Chris, who did you stalk? And you go, well, I stalked Martha. And he goes, Martha's my cousin. And so he stabs you in the kidneys? Has that ever happened to you guys before? Okay, perfect. Let me ask you this then. You guys ever do your time, you get out of prison, and you look up what you're supposed to do now that you're out of prison? Turns out you're supposed to be with your parole officer, so you go down to the parole officer office to meet with the parole officer, but you get there just before closing time. You know, like the song Closing Time? Like, I love you, you know the song, but you get in right before closing time, and so you don't read the name of your parole officer, you just read that you're supposed to go to room 303, so you go up the stairs, you open the door to room 303, and it turns out that in the time that you were in prison, Martha had a career change, and now she's a parole officer? And by visiting the parole officer office, you're now violating the terms of your restraining order, sending you back to prison, the same prison you were recently released from. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Okay, perfect! Let me ask you this then. You guys ever get back to prison and for whatever reason they put you back with cousin McStabface? And so he stabs you again in the same stab hole that he stabbed you in the first time, and it causes a very bad infection, so you go down to the infirmary to meet with the infirmarist, and the infirmarist goes, Chris, you have a very rare blood type, and unless you get a proper transfusion, you're probably gonna die. Has that ever happened to you guys before? Okay, perfect! Let me ask you this then. You ever write to people in your area to find a match, and you find one, and they come in, and it turns out that it's Martha, and Martha goes, Chris, I will give you the blood on one condition! That you admit the promotion was rightfully mine? Have you guys ever fucking stabbed Martha? I've got 2 tickets to Iron Maiden, baby. Come on guys, let's get the women going. Martha is lying in the hallway. She can't take my promotion away from me. Ooh. Oh, great fucking, whatever it's called when you harmonize. Great harmony, you guys. Sorry if I got a little bit riled up there. And I just really love having shit in common with people, you know? Really like fitting in, you guys. I do. Oh my gosh, you guys. We're approaching my favorite season very rapidly here, you guys. I fucking love Halloween. Yeah. I love Halloween, not because I like to dress up like you fucking losers. Not all of you, just those 3 people that root for Halloween. I'm just kidding. I like Halloween for the horror movies, you guys. Yeah, are you guys familiar with the movie The Ring? Have you guys ever heard of The Ring before? Yeah, if you don't know the movie The Ring, super simple premise. This lady gets a fucking VHS tape, she puts it in, it plays a weird movie, then she gets a phone call, and the phone call says, you will die in 7 days. And then sure enough, the lady fucking dies 7 days later. And I love that movie because it's so unrealistic by today's standards. You know, like you could never have like a Gen Z person play that role. You know, like they just get the VHS tape, they're like, what the fuck is this? And so they Google it, turns out you're supposed to have like a VCR, so they buy a VCR, it comes in the mail, they go to plug it in with like the red, white, and yellow cables, and they're like, I don't have these ports. This is an HDMI. So they buy like an HDMI to the AV adapter, and they plug it in, they put the movie in, it plays for 1 second, instantly they turn it off, they're like, how boring. But they still get the call, but it's an unknown number, so they just deny the call. And so the ring lady leaves a fucking voicemail, she's like, you will die in 7 days, and hangs up, and then she's sitting there and she's like, oh, what if he doesn't get this till tomorrow? Like, I might be a fucking monster, but I'm not a demon. You know, so she calls back to leave like a voicemail with the date. But you answer this time, and so she can like throw her off. And she's like, oh, Chris Swift, you will die. And I'm like, yeah, I'm already with Telus, I don't need Shaw. Hang on. And she starts panicking because it's the end of the month, it's quota season on rings. And so she's like, fine, I guess I'll text him. She texts Chris Swift, you will die in 7 days. Unless you forward this off to 10 of your closest friends. Do this before midnight or this will end up in your bed. And it's like a picture of her and she's just like... You know, it's like, I didn't know this was a fucking multi-level marketing scheme. It's like she's the Arbonne of the underworld, you guys. Yeah, I feel like if she was gonna like market herself properly, she'd have to use like Netflix now, you know? Like I feel like Netflix is pretty cool, because like, are you guys big Netflix fans? Yeah, I feel like if you only have Netflix, like if that was your only like port into the outside world, then to you, love is either blind or on the spectrum. I think it'd be pretty cool to be blind and on the spectrum, you guys. Because autistic people, they have something where they like certain textures. That's what I've read, is they like certain textures. What's Braille but the world's coolest fucking texture? You know? Like, not only does it feel good, but you're also like, is that a train? Alright guys, I feel some of you pulling back. I can make that joke, okay? I can make that joke because I watched the movie Rain Man. And I will tell you, that movie actually did kind of ruin my perception of autistic people for a while. Like, I watched Rain Man, and I was like, oh, my buddy Greg, he's autistic, he'll be able to help me with my taxes. Yeah, it turns out Greg's not tax autistic, you guys. Yeah, Greg is just ambient noise autistic. I thought I was getting Rain Man, I got likes the sound of the Rain Man. Alright, you guys, I'm gonna hit you with, I'll hit you with one more and I'll get out of here. I wish I had time for two, but I'll hit you with one more and I'll get out of here. How do we feel about boobs, Lethbridge? We have a boobs crowd? We can do better than that for boobs. Give it up for boobs, you guys! There we go. There's the appreciation it deserves. I love boobs, you guys. I love boobs. I have boobs. But I will tell you, boobs, you think that they're good all the time. Boobs are not good all the time, you guys. I once, so I do a lot of weird shows as a comic, and I was hosting for a burlesque show in Calgary, okay? And so I didn't know the first thing about burlesque, so I went 2 hours early to get ready, learn about it, maybe write some jokes, get ready for the show, because I wanted to do a good job. And so I'm in the green room getting ready, people are coming in, they're like getting ready or whatever, I'm like nosing a book, not really acknowledging anybody, and then I see the time, it's 10 minutes to show time, I'm gonna get out there, and so I go to leave the green room out of the first exit, and I turn, and there's a pair of boobs blocking my path. And I turned away instantly, you guys, because I don't know if you know this, boobs in the wild are fucking terrifying. Like, I don't know what they do, I don't know if they bite, I don't know if they're gonna get me, all I know is I don't want any part of them. So I'm a smart man, I said I'm gonna go to the other exit, and I turned to go to the other exit, but there's another pair of boobs blocking my path. And these boobs are like a lot scarier. Like these boobs are like sitting on a stool, smoking a cigar. You know? And these boobs start talking to me. They go, Chris, we're gonna get you. And I was like, this is what I was afraid of. And I was like, Boobs, what do you mean you're gonna get me? And then Boobs goes, Chris, we have your wife. And I was like, Boobs, I don't have a wife. Like, what are you talking about? And then Boobs starts getting frustrated, and Boobs goes, Chris, we're gonna get your promotion. And I said, what? And Boobs took off her mask, and it was